Looking now at the technical skills behind returning serve, you'll find when driving the return, a more compact version of your ground strokes with very little backswing will do the trick. When chipping and blocking returns, often the technique takes on the look of your volley skills, using the power of the incoming serve to your advantage. However, the most important factor to remember is that in most situations, you have to be in a defensive mindset to execute effectively. Developing a consistent routine leading up to the execution of the return will play an important role in establishing your timing and feel. Though the routines may differ from player to player, there are some key elements you must incorporate if you want returns that are right-back-atcha. One of the most effective routines involves starting back a few steps and as the toss goes into the air, moving forward to establish momentum on the return. As the server makes contact with the ball, the returner will split step their footwork, positioning the body in a wide base of support for quick reaction left or right. By creating forward momentum heading into the split step, the returner can react on a diagonal slant, using the weight of the body to help support and add control to the stroke. So from a starting position further back, they move forward into the split step position at contact of the serve. The timing of the split step is critical to your ability to consistently execute the return. You only want to briefly pause in the split step position, long enough to identify the location of the serve. If you time your split step too late, you won't allow yourself enough time to react to serves that challenge your reach. For sharper reaction time and quicker movement, your split step position should establish a strong athletic foundation throughout your body. That means a wide footwork base 1.5 to 2 shoulder widths apart, a low hip position through bending the knees, and strong upright back posture. Building the qualities of the athletic foundation into habit for all aspects of your game will help you tremendously, especially when in quick reflex mode on the return. In some situations and with certain styles of play, you'll see the returner start closer in, then move back a few steps before split stepping on reaction. If you prefer this routine, you must make sure you drive your body weight forward as you execute to reverse the momentum you created backwards. Then there are quite a few players who find success with a routine of staying in one position, not moving forward or back, creating the split step at the same depth in the court as their starting position. So you must experiment until you find the qualities in your routine that work best for you. Just make sure you maintain the timing of your split step with the contact point on the serve, and make every effort to create forward momentum into your returns.
Quite often my students say, gee whiz, I don't have somebody that will get out there and serve to me hundreds and hundreds of tennis balls. That's okay. What we do at the academy is use the backboard, and I'm going to show you. The backboard becomes the server, and my student will work on the return to serve using the following steps. Watch closely. My young student here is going to start back, maybe 30 feet or so from the backboard. And he's going to hit forehands and backhands. He can go into a neutral stance. He can go into a completely open stance. Has plenty of time to make the grip change. He can take rather a big swing. But right now, what we're going to do, we're going to move him in another step or so. And I'm going to force this young student of mine, Richie, to start shortening up, picking up the ball a lot sooner, making that quick transition from a forehand to a backhand grip, and also utilizing the open stance a lot more than ever before. So don't forget, you can use a wall, you can use the back of a garage, you can use the backboard, I don't care. But get out there and practice the return to serve. And you know what? The more confidence you gain, the closer you're going to get to that backboard.
A common problem many players experience on the return we call the jack-in-the-box. The moment the server makes contact, the returner springs into the air, like a jack-in-the-box. At the exact moment they should be positioned with their feet on the ground, reacting and making their move, these players have their feet almost a foot off the ground, and by the time they land, it's too late to react and execute. Another situation to avoid is the jack-in-the-box action as you execute your returns. Launching upward may feel like you're creating more power, but often this results in losing control of the stroke, causing frequent mishits off the bottom edge of the frame. So look out for the jack-in-the-box in both situations to improve the quality of your returns. If you want to be able to send those sonic serves
right back at you,
then you'll have to develop quickness in your lateral movement and the ability to hit from the open stance on both the forehand and backhand sides. With less than a half second to react and execute against the big serve, you won't have time to rearrange your footwork before you execute. The best you can hope to do most of the time is hit from an open stance, ending up in a neutral stance on the finish.
Especially in a pressure situation when I'm guessing for the return. Sometimes I'd be holding a forehand grip and I wouldn't have enough time to switch to a backhand grip, and that way I would have to cheat and try to slice the ball. So that makes me go back to a step or two, and that way I'm giving up too much of a court space.
What's your starting grip? Like gunslingers in a showdown, you have to be quick on the draw and able to make a grip change within a split second between the forehand and backhand sides. Many players who have the backhand grip in hand as the serve approaches run into great difficulty switching quick enough to the forehand side. As a result, these players typically position deeper in the court to allow more reaction time. Because they must use the opposite hand to first change the grip, then they prepare to hit, these players will always struggle to avoid being late and are very vulnerable to wide slices to the forehand side. If you start with the forehand grip, you can immediately prepare for contact without any change when the serve is to the forehand side. From the forehand grip, when you see the serve is to your backhand side and you're looking to drive the return, you must learn the technique of using the opposite hand to do the work. As the dominant hand reacts by reaching towards the point of contact, the opposite hand, positioned on the throat of the racket, prepares the racket head for the stroke. As the opposite hand positions the racket head, the dominant hand releases off the grip so that the grip can spin into the backhand position. In one action, the dominant hand reaches out to contact while allowing the grip to spin into the backhand position. For two-handed backhands, again the opposite hand will do the work to make the grip change from the forehand to the backhand side, the only difference being the position of the opposite hand on the racket. For two-handed backhands, the opposite hand will position directly above the dominant hand on the grip. The dominant hand will function the same way by releasing the hand enough to allow the grip to shift into the backhand position. With practice, you can learn to be very quick on changing grips and become equally dominant on both sides. This will also allow you the option of moving forward to much closer starting and split positions on the return and improve your range of coverage. What's more, you'll have the option to drive returns in situations where others must resort to chipping, slicing, and blocking returns. So if you want to be quick on the draw, start with a forehand grip on reaction to the serve and make your change from there.
We used to actually line them up against the fence, put their butt up against the fence, and you know what? When they turned to hit the return to serve, if their racket hit the fence, I didn't have to say a word. They had to take a short backswing, turn their hips and shoulders, and return from here. The fence doesn't lie, and at times the students either don't believe you or have no conception of how big their backswing is on a return to serve or a difficult ground stroke.
The true test of a returner's skill is to test the limits and extent of their range of coverage. On the extreme serve placements that make the returner move and lunge to execute, is there strength or significant breakdown? For most players, they will always struggle to generate power and maintain control on the full reach return. The reason being is that most players have a completely different stroke technique than that of the greatest returners. Where the majority of players will prepare for the full reach return by taking the racket back, then creating their power stroking out to reach the ball. The best returners prepare by reaching out, as if they were going to catch the ball off the bounce. By reaching out as the first move, their feet can quickly adjust and create power for the stroke action to pull the racket back across the body. So if you want your full reach returns to be
Right-back-atcha!
then prepare by reaching out behind the ball, then create a pulling action to stroke back across your body. And you'll not only be able to block those would-be aces back into play, but you'll have the power to drive those off-speed spinners
Right-back-atcha!